Tonight, the Middle East is facing one of the most dangerous moments in recent geopolitical history. A tiny island in the Persian Gulf, barely visible on most world maps, has suddenly become the center of a global crisis that could reshape energy markets, international security, and the balance of power in the region. The United States has carried out a powerful military strike on Iran's Kharg Island, the strategic oil export hub that serves as the backbone of Iran's economy. The operation, carried out amid rising tensions involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, has triggered warnings of retaliation, rising oil prices, and fears that the crisis could spiral into a broader regional conflict. Before we break down everything that's happening, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss major global updates like this. And if you appreciate clear and factual news coverage, don't forget to like this video as well. Now let's take a closer look at what exactly happened and why this moment could have worldwide consequences. According to officials, U.S. forces launched a major military strike targeting installations on Kharg Island, located off Iran's southern coast in the Persian Gulf. The island is widely known as the most important oil export hub in Iran and one of the most strategically significant energy locations in the Middle East. During the operation, American forces targeted military infrastructure believed to be connected to Iran's defensive capabilities on the island. The strike reportedly focused on radar systems, military facilities, and defensive positions. However, in a notable strategic decision, the oil export infrastructure itself was deliberately left untouched. That decision may prove extremely important. Kharg Island is not just another energy facility. It is essentially the backbone of Iran's oil economy. Nearly 90% of Iran's crude oil exports pass through this single island before being shipped to global markets. Massive oil storage tanks, pipelines connecting to oil fields across Iran, and deep-water terminals capable of loading giant oil tankers make Kharg Island one of the most critical energy facilities in the world. If the island's export infrastructure were ever fully destroyed, Iran's ability to sell oil internationally could collapse almost overnight. And that is exactly why the island has long been considered one of the most sensitive geopolitical pressure points in the region. By targeting military assets but avoiding the oil facilities themselves, the United States appears to be sending a strategic message, applying pressure while stopping short of triggering the most extreme economic consequences. But the situation remains extremely volatile. U.S. leadership has warned that if Iran interferes with shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz, the situation could escalate further. That narrow waterway, located just a short distance from Kharg Island, is one of the most important oil transit routes on the planet. Roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply moves through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. Any disruption there could immediately send global energy markets into shock, and concerns about that possibility are already growing. Iranian officials have warned that attacks on the country's infrastructure could trigger retaliation against energy facilities belonging to the United States or its regional allies. There are also concerns that Iran could attempt to disrupt shipping traffic in the Persian Gulf if tensions continue rising. For global markets, this situation is about far more than military strategy. It's about energy security. Even the possibility of disruption has already caused volatility in oil prices. Energy traders around the world are closely watching every development because any escalation could quickly affect global fuel supplies and transportation costs. A direct strike on Kharg Island's oil infrastructure could remove millions of barrels of oil from the global market almost instantly. That kind of disruption could send oil prices sharply higher and potentially create economic ripple effects across multiple countries. Another reason Kharg Island is so important comes down to geography. Many parts of Iran's coastline are too shallow for large oil tankers to dock safely. Kharg Island, however, has deep water access that allows massive supertankers to load crude oil directly before transporting it to global markets. This makes the island uniquely suited for large-scale oil exports and extremely difficult to replace if it were severely damaged.
That's why military planners and energy analysts alike consider Kharg Island to be one of the most strategically important energy locations in the world. And now it has become a focal point in a rapidly evolving geopolitical crisis. The broader regional tensions involving Iran, Israel, and the United States have already led to military operations, heightened alerts across the Gulf, and increasing diplomatic pressure from governments around the world. Many leaders are now urging restraint and calling for diplomatic solutions to prevent the conflict from escalating further. For Washington, the strike appears designed to weaken Iran's military capabilities while maintaining leverage over the country's economic lifeline. For Iran, however, the attack represents a direct challenge to national sovereignty and security. That difference in perspective is exactly what makes the situation so unpredictable. If tensions continue rising, the conflict could expand beyond isolated strikes into a wider regional confrontation involving multiple countries across the Middle East. And that possibility is exactly what global markets and governments are watching closely. This is not just a regional issue anymore. It's a geopolitical situation that could affect global energy prices, shipping routes, international diplomacy, and economic stability across multiple continents. So the key question now is what happens next? Will the pressure created by this strike push both sides towards negotiations, or could it trigger further retaliation that leads to a broader confrontation? We will continue to monitor this situation very closely as new developments unfold. Before we wrap up, if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like this video and share it with others who want clear and factual updates about major global events. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more coverage of international news, geopolitics, and major developments shaping the world today. Also tell us in the comments, do you think this strike will lead to de-escalation and negotiations, or could the region be heading towards a larger conflict? One thing is clear. A small island in the Persian Gulf has suddenly become one of the most strategically important locations on the planet, and what happens there next could shape global events in the days ahead.